What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. And I'm tired as fuck. It's 6 a.m. I'm up grinding for you guys. I want to give my post fight Rigondeaux versus Amagasa, and it was a good fight. It was more unexpected than anything. A lot of people thought Rigondeaux, being the Olympian, the gold medalist 2 times and whatnot, he was going to come in and blow this guy out. And he actually got dropped 2 times in this fight in the seventh round, and he rallied back to put his work in and get the stoppage, a corner stoppage in the 11th round. So Rigondeaux won via TKO in the 11th round. I want to give you guys some of my thoughts on the fight. Again, it was unexpected. I expected Rigondeaux to go in there and just make it easy work. I didn't have much data on his opponent other than the fact that he looked like a fucking vampire. And he reminded me of the Japanese version of the Chinese dude from Rush Hour, the one because they both had the bleached blonde hair. Juntao, remember Juntao? Wipe yourself off. You bleeding. Come on, fight like a man. That's my movie. Anyway, I'm so delirious right now. Um, I have to say, Rigondeaux started off really sketch to me. I don't know if he possibly overtrained in this camp, but he was very sluggish. He didn't look as precise and accurate. I don't know what it was, but he just didn't look like he had the same level of accuracy, and he just looked kind of lethargic and slower. Like speed didn't look as crisp as normal. And when I seen him training, I seen a bunch of training videos for this fight. He looked crisp and sharp, but in the fight, he just looked kind of lethargic and slow. He actually looked a little bit. I'm not gonna say he looked fat or nothing, but he looked bigger than normal. So he just looked more sluggish, and his something was. It was like something was off. His timing was off. I remember in the first couple of rounds, he was trying to land some body shots, and they kept straying low, and they were kind of below the belt and whatnot. So it's like he couldn't get his range, and you got to credit some of it to his opponent being 4 or 5 inches taller than him. So Rigondeaux being a small guy, trying to find that range without taking any chances against the guy with who's killing you in the height department and the reach department. Maybe that has something to do with it. But overall, at first Rigondeaux he was pot shotting, and again something seemed off with him. Like normally I'm used to him living up to his nickname El Chacal, which is the Jackal, and he didn't really seem as elusive as normal. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel if he fought and looked like he did like this against Nonito Donaire, that might have been a different fight, more competitive, less one-sided. So I don't know what it was with him. I don't know if he overtrained possibly or if he underestimated his opponent. So off to a little bit of rocky start. He didn't look as crisp as I expected him to. Then out of nowhere, he got lazy with his defense, and that's all it takes. And then his opponent, Amagasa, hit him with the right cross, perfect. And I know he wasn't expecting it, and it just straight up dropped him. And it was crazy because it was just out of nowhere. Like, and see, that's the thing. You can't slack. The people get a lot of things twisted in this boxing. You can't slack a minute in that ring. You know what I'm saying? 3 minute rounds, you gotta be on deck and alert all 3 minute rounds because the moment you underestimate and what it looked like because they were kind of like spinning around. I guess since the I would say that Magasa to me he's a tough son of a bitch, but he wasn't really a skilled fighter. He didn't there was nothing about him that just stood out like oh he's a great counter puncher, great body puncher. He just was tough. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't the most skilled dude. So sometimes when you're in there with a guy like that, you're not expecting him to be able to like hit you with a counter or do something like that. So I think it caught Rigondeaux off guard. Like he's like, oh shit, I was, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't expecting that. And immediately Amagasau started jumping up for joy, celebrating, and he was juiced. He was really energized from that moment, and he started piling on. They said it was a second knockdown, but it was truthfully a push. But for whatever reason, the dumbass referee counted it as a second knockdown, which it shouldn't have been. But it is what it is. So he got credit for 2 knockdowns in round 7. Rigondeaux stayed composed, and they just kept putting that work in and just bullying his face. His face was looking disfigured in a motherfucker. Like, if you ever seen the Goonies, like, hey, you guys, Rocky Road. He looked like Sloth and shit. It looked like he had like a tennis ball in his cheek. He just looked fucked up. Now, some people are gonna look at this and say, "Oh, Rigondeaux is overrated. He's a bum." But there's a lot of factors, and I want to kind of explore a few of those before I go to bed. And the thing is, sometimes, like, a lot of people are quick to assume everybody's a bum because we might not have heard of them in the states, and to feel that way, I think that's kind of egotistical. Just because someone hasn't fought in the states because they're from the UK or they're from Mexico or they're from Asia or wherever, that doesn't automatically mean that they're a bum. I think the similar situation happened in the Leonard Bundu fight. Now, again, this guy, he looked sloppy. He didn't look like a great fighter. However, his formula, what he did do, like what he had, I think is perfect for Rigondeaux's style. And what I mean by that is he lacks all of the skills and fundamentals, and I wouldn't say he's, you know what I'm saying, he's not a world beater, but the motherfucker is tough. And he came at Rigondeaux like, fuck your Olympic medals and all this stuff. I know I'm gonna get pounded, but I'm just gonna keep staying on top of you. And he was tough enough to do that for 11 rounds. You know what I'm saying? And I think when people realize that, like, you look at the Nonito Donaire fight, you look at the Joseph Igbeko fight, they have something like a chip built into their head where they see how awesome Rigondeaux's offense and defense is. So it makes them hesitant and it makes them gun shy. And I was on Dante's Boxing Nation and I was talking about this a little bit. So it makes them apprehensive to do stuff. But if you're not that type of fighter where you're just a tough motherfucker and you throw caution to the wind, it causes those fighters who are more strategic, it gives them less time to think, and they have to work. You know what I'm saying? They have less time to think and react, and they just have to actually work and maybe even be in the trenches. Example would be Alfredo El Perro Angulo, him versus Erislandy Lara. Similar situation. Angulo knows he's not a better boxer than Lara, but what he is good at is cutting off the ring, power, and those things. So he was just willing to, you know what I mean, attack, get hit, and then finally come through with his shots. And he was able to drop Lara twice in that fight too. You know what I'm saying? So I feel if a fighter has that kind of Angulo or Maidana approach where they just kind of don't give a fuck, they're willing to go out on their shield, that is going to give more problems to a guy like Rigondeaux, as opposed to the guys who get a taste of it and then they back off and they're like, oh shit, I can't fuck with this. And I think really that's what it was. If you know the Japanese culture, they are very prideful. There's a lot of honor and there's a lot of pride. Like even the samurais, there would be situations where samurais would actually kill themselves as opposed to like tell information to the enemy or to become a prisoner, or if they felt like they dishonored somebody or they dishonored their family or their master, their boss or whatever, they would actually kill themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like on some kamikaze shit. So the Japanese culture is like that. You know what I'm saying? They're willing to go out on their shield. And the proof is, you just look at these Japanese fighters are tough as fuck. Look at the fight with Omar Figueroa versus Arakawa. Arakawa didn't really have the power to compete with Omar Figueroa, but he was sure staying in pocket and banging with Omar Figueroa and getting fucked up. And he was still trying to make it a fight. He was just tough. You look at the fight with Robert Guerrero and Kamagai. Same situation, same setup. And a lot of people say that's a fight of the year. It's just a guy who's willing to, he's getting battered, and he was battering Robert Guerrero's eye. He was just, it's a lot of heart, a lot of toughness, and I think that's pretty much the same thing with Rigondeaux and his opponent with Omagasa. He was just tough. He was tough. He was bigger than Rigondeaux, taller than Rigondeaux, and you know what I'm saying? Plus, on top of that, Rigondeaux might have underestimated him, might have overtrained. And truthfully, I wouldn't even be surprised if someone told Rigondeaux, first of all, I'm not making excuses because either way, Rigondeaux won. So, and he won by stoppage. I'm really like objectively looking at this. But I wouldn't be surprised if Rigondeaux's management said to, you know what I'm saying, like don't go at 100%, because Rigondeaux is already having a hell of a time getting fights as is. You know what I'm saying? So if he just went in and blew this guy out of the water, then, you know what I'm saying, he would probably continue to struggle. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone was in his ear like, go full force. Now, I'm not saying they wanted him to get knocked down. That was just him slipping on his defense, and he got caught with something and it got dropped. And another thing is, when I did my prediction for Nonito Donaire versus Rigondeaux, I said that I thought Rigondeaux was kind of chinny, and that's why I picked Donaire to win. And I was wrong, actually, obviously, in that prediction. But I still think his chin is kind of suspect, and I don't know. I just think he's kind of chinny. But normally his defense and offense and his accuracy and what he brings to the table makes up for it. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody from his team or whatnot said, you know what I mean, like fight at a 6 to 8 instead of fight at a full 10. You know what I mean? And even if they didn't, this is good for him. Now he looks vulnerable. Hopefully the Leo Santa Cruzes of the world, the Framptons, the Quigs, they want to fight him now. Like, oh shit, he got dropped. He has no chin. You know what I'm saying? And gets fights. Same thing with like a Keith Thurman. You look at Keith Thurman, he's in the same boat. Some people doubt him now because of the Bundu performance, whereas before he was having trouble getting some of the top level guys in his division. So I look at it as like this is a good thing, because some people might say, oh, I could beat this guy now. I'll mix it up with him. And Rigondeaux's still undefeated. He's still a champion. So hopefully they do see this and they think there's things in his game that they can expose. But something was up. I don't know if he underestimated his opponent, he overtrained, if he had some kind of injury coming into this, if someone told him to, I don't know, like don't go so hard, make yourself, you know what I'm saying, like bang it out and fight a different fight. I don't know, but something seemed off with him because he didn't look like Rigondeaux. And like I said, if Rigondeaux was beating guys like Donaire, it's really hard to believe he was 100% no bullshit and he struggled with this dude. But either way, props to the Japanese dude Amagasa for, you know what I mean, making it as tough as possible. His face was looking fucked up at the end. So that's the other thing. People laugh and like, Rigondeaux got knocked down, but look at his face. Whose face looks worse? You know what I'm saying? Who won the fight? Who got stopped and who didn't? So I don't care about knockdowns and shit like that. It comes with the territory, especially if, you know what I'm saying, you doubt your opponent. Like, oh, he can't hit me. He's not going to be able to bring nothing to me. And then that's exactly what they do. They do the opposite. Drop me a comment. I'm definitely about to crash. Let me know what you guys think if you saw the fight. Drop me a comment. What's next for Rigondeaux? As always, make sure you like my video, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.